A man named Painless Parker revolutionized the way medicine is marketed in the U.S. Let's learn about it on a brand new episode of The Internet Says It's True. Well, hey there and welcome back to The Internet Says It's True, where every week we learn something that sounds made up but is really true. Part of the WCBE podcast experience, available on all podcast platforms, as well as the NPR app and website. My name is Michael Kent. This is episode 235. Thank you so much for tuning in. Recording this episode on Easter weekend, so I've decided to forego the yap with a guest section for this week, so you'll notice it's a little bit of a shorter episode. Not only is it difficult to find guests on holiday weekends like this, I just didn't want to take someone away from their festivities and families, so we'll tell the story this week and then pick up the yap on the next new episode. Before we get started, just a quick reminder, this show is only made possible through your support. If you enjoy learning weird little nuggets of true history every week, there are two easy ways you can help. First, leave a review. The best place to do that is on Apple Podcasts. And don't just hit 5 stars, write a few words, great show, or I learned something new every week, whatever. Even a short review helps boost the algorithm and it gets the show in front of new ears. I read every single one of them and they help more than you know. Second, join the Patreon at patreon.com/MichaelKent. You can become a member for as little as $1 a month. We call our members Tizziters, and in addition to keeping the show running, you'll get access to bonus content, ad-free episodes, behind-the-scenes stories, live show recordings, and more. Higher levels even get to hear unreleased content from the road. Video of my shows. It's the best way to be part of the community, and I would love to have you join. That's patreon.com/MichaelKent. All right, so today's story is about one of the most eccentric figures in medical history. A man who turned dental work into a sort of street theater, who built a dental empire by breaking every rule in the book and carried around a bucket of teeth to prove it. If you live in the United States, you've grown up seeing ads for prescription drugs and medical procedures. They're on TV, on billboards, in your social media feed. You've seen commercials where someone is running through a meadow while a soft voice whispers side effects that include loss of appetite, blurry vision, and spontaneous nose trumpet. Totally normal, right? Except it's not. The United States and New Zealand are the only 2 countries in the world where direct-to-consumer pharmaceutical advertising is legal. Nowhere else can companies advertise prescription drugs directly to patients. In most countries, that kind of thing is heavily regulated or banned outright. But here, it's big business. How big? Well, in 2023, pharmaceutical companies in the U.S. spent nearly $9 billion with a B on direct-to-consumer advertising. That includes TV spots, print ads, online campaigns, you name it. And that doesn't include hospital ads, dental chains, or those slick brochures at your local urgent care. So how did we get here? When did healthcare become a product with jingles and logos and celebrity endorsements? Well, today's story is about a man who, in the late 1800s, was already doing all of that before commercials, before healthcare regulations, before toothbrush jingles. He was out there turning dentistry into a circus, literally. And his name was Painless Parker. He might have invented modern medical marketing before the rest of medicine even realized it was an option. Edgar Randolph Parker was born in 1872 in New Brunswick, Canada. As a young man, he moved to the United States and he studied dentistry in Philadelphia. But once he graduated and opened his practice, he ran into a problem, a big one. No one wanted to go to the dentist. And honestly, who could blame him? In the late 1800s, dental procedures were primitive, painful, and borderline traumatic. Anesthetics were inconsistent and equipment wasn't standardized. And the sound of a hand drill wasn't just annoying, it was terrifying. Parker realized that to survive in this new profession, he would need to do something completely different. So he took a bold step. He created a character, a brand. He became Painless Parker. And he took his practice to the streets. Instead of waiting for patients to come to him, he brought dentistry to them with a horse-drawn wagon, a brass band, and a promotional flair that felt more like a circus than a clinic. He'd pull into town with banners flying and music playing, set up in public squares, and offer live tooth extractions right there in front of the crowds. His secret weapon? A liquid anesthetic he called hydrocaine. Now, it's likely this was just a mix of cocaine and Novocaine. both legal and commonly used at the time. He'd inject it with a comically large syringe, usually the while holding it up in the air for dramatic effect. It made a point. This will make it painless. Now, whether it worked perfectly or not didn't matter. People believed it did. And the proof? His most famous prop, a bucket full of extracted teeth, which he proudly displayed to anyone skeptical of his success. According to Parker, he once extracted 357 teeth in a single day. That number is probably inflated, but the point is people were lining up to be treated. And here's where the story gets even more interesting. At the time, organized dentistry was still trying to clean up its image. The American Dental Association wanted to distance itself from the era of barber surgeons and shady traveling dentists. They were pushing for higher standards, better ethics, and a more professional public image. Parker was the exact opposite. And by the way, that's right, I did say the American Dental Association. It did exist back then. We're talking about the late 1890s, and the ADA was founded in Niagara Falls in 1859. Painless Parker was loud, theatrical, and unapologetically promotional. He advertised in newspapers and handbills. That was something that most dentists didn't dare do. The ADA considered him a fraud, even though he was a licensed dentist. The American Dental Association eventually sued him, specifically for using the name Painless. They argued that no dental procedure could be guaranteed painless, so advertising that way was deceptive. So what was Parker's solution? He changed his name. He changed his legal name to Painless Parker. Problem solved. Seriously, that's how he got around it. But here's the twist. While Parker's methods may have been flashy, he wasn't just a showman. He was also a visionary in how healthcare could be marketed, and he wasn't done yet. He had bigger plans. We'll learn about those after a quick break. I know a couple things that are true about listeners to this show. Number one, a lot of you are in the New York and New Jersey area. And number two, you need therapy. And I don't say that because I know you. I say that because I think everyone needs therapy. I think that personally, therapy is one of the best things I've ever done. And I know that life has so many challenges. It's not getting easier. And whether it's anxiety, grief, low self-esteem, identity issues, trauma, relationship challenges, looking at the news and seeing what's going on in our country, it's very easy to get overwhelmed by life's challenges. But at Salt River Therapy, their therapists provide you with a safe, affirming space to heal and to grow. They have a boutique practice that offers compassionate, quality therapy for individuals and couples, both in person in Brooklyn and virtually throughout New York and New Jersey. And they specialize in these very things that we were talking about, whether it's anxiety or grief or trauma, relationship challenges, so much more. Now, they accept most New York Aetna plans and have sliding scale rates available. Are you ready to prioritize your mental health? Schedule a free consultation today. Go to saltrivertherapy.com. Let them support you on your journey to well-being. If you love listening to this podcast every week and you want to show your support, that would mean a great deal to me. You can do that by becoming a Patreon member. We've got members at all levels, whether you want to pledge $1 a month or $10 a month. Just think about the value that you receive from this show. And if you like the histories and the stories that you learn about or the jokes that you hear, and if you think that they're worth it, consider signing up. For that, you get every episode ad-free and a week early, access to bonuses like the unedited videos of the guest appearances, and 20% off all merchandise. You can sign up today at patreon.com/Michael Kent. That's patreon.com/Michael Kent. There was a time that humans used 100% organic products as healing balms and moisturizers for their skin. Well, I've partnered with an awesome company that wants to get back to those times. Fatco sells organic and responsibly made tallow-based skincare products. For centuries, humans used tallow in skin moisturizers and healing balms, but unfortunately, the topical application of these fats seemed to stop around the same time that animal fats stopped being considered part of a healthy diet. A lot of modern skincare products do more harm than good by stripping your skin of its natural oils. Let's change that. You can try them out now at fatco.com and get 15% off your order by using my promo code INTERNET. Go to theinternetsaysitstrue.com/deals for the link.
Hey, I'm Cliff Baumgardner.
And I'm Harrison Stewart.
If you're like us, you probably grew up watching the Discovery Channel classic, Mythbusters.
From rocket cars to chicken cannons, Mythbusters proved there's no question too big, too small, or too ridiculous to put to the test.
Now we're going back to rewatch the show from episode 1, and we want you to follow along. Join us as we revisit every single myth, moment, experiment, and explosion from throughout the show's legendary 14 seasons. Subscribe now so you don't miss one.
When Painless Parker realized his street act was catching on, he took things to the next level. He launched what would become the Painless Parker Dental Circus. And yes, it was exactly what it sounds like. The show traveled town to town, a combination of dental treatment and vaudeville. Parker was joined by assistants, jugglers, costumed performers, and yes, still that brass band. Crowds would gather, patients would be treated right on stage, and dental care became part of the spectacle. In a way, he was creating something that wouldn't become normal for another century, a branded, franchised healthcare experience. By the 1920s, Parker had over 30 dental offices spread across multiple states. He employed dozens of licensed dentists trained in his techniques and working under his brand. Think of it like the 1920s version of a dental chain, except with a marching band and a guy yelling, "Step right up and get your tooth pulled." And he wasn't doing this under the radar. He was openly challenging the profession's gatekeepers. He once wrote a book about his experiences called The Early Adventures of Painless Parker, where he detailed how traditional dentistry had failed to reach the people who needed it most, and how this method succeeded by meeting people where they were. It's not exactly subtle, but it paints a picture of someone who saw dentistry not just as a profession, but as a performance. And here's something that's easy to miss. Parker wasn't working in a time of clear regulations and healthcare laws. The field of dentistry was still evolving. Licensing varied by state and standards were inconsistent, and public trust in dentists was low. In some towns, Parker's clinics were the only option people had. He helped remove stigma. He normalized going to the dentist, even if it was during a street performance. And maybe that's his most lasting contribution. Today, Parker is remembered as both a cautionary tale and a folk hero. Dental schools still mention him when teaching professional ethics. And if you ever find yourself at the University of the Pacific's Dental Museum, you can actually see his famous tooth bucket. It's still there, still full, still weirdly impressive. He passed away in 1952, but his legacy lives on in ways that modern medicine is only just starting to fully appreciate, especially when it comes to branding, outreach, and the patient experience. So the next time you see a dental billboard or a smiling cartoon tooth mascot, remember, the guy who started all that was once playing trombone while pulling molars in a town square. The internet says it's true. Well, that is all for this week. Thanks go out to you for listening every week. Here's the voice of someone who just lost their first baby tooth.
Thank you for listening to The Internet Says It's True. To listen to episodes ad-free and a week early, support us on Patreon. You can do that at patreon.com/Michael Kent. If you learned something just now that you didn't already know, go to the Apple Podcast app and leave us a review with 5 stars and a few words. That helps us a ton, because that's how the algorithm works. I don't know what an algorithm is, but just do it. See you next week for a brand new episode of The Internet Says It's True!
The Internet Says It's True would like to thank the Patreon subscribers whose monthly contributions help to make this show possible. Sean Brown, Joshua Endress, Dallas Ray, Bryce Swanson, Eugene Anderson, Jim and Joanne Martin, Mitch and Andrew Joseph Kemplin, and the show's official Emperor, Kick Track. The show is written and produced by me, Michael Kent. The theme song is by Finite Music Forge, and all audio clips in this episode are used for education and commentary and used under Fair Use Title 17 U.S.C. Section 107. You can listen to past episodes by searching for The Internet Says It's True wherever you get your podcasts, and you can see bonus content at patreon.com/Michael Kent.